Thank you for staying with News Central. On the second half of One Slot, we'll be talking about children. Why children are prime targets of armed groups in northern Nigeria is the title of a piece written in 2021 by Hakeem Onapajo, a senior lecturer in the Department of Political Science and International Relations, Nile University of Nigeria. One Slot takes this statement as a question in the light of recent developments. Hakeem writes then that despite the reality that children have increasingly become the face of insecurity in northern Nigeria, there seems to be silence on issues related to child security. An updated insight on the abductions of Nigerian school children by the cable's Jemilat Nasiru comes in handy, and that's a few days ago. Jemilat recounts that on March 7, bandits invaded a primary and secondary school in Kuriga community in Kaduna and abducted 287 school children, including their teachers. We get a different number much later. The Governor Ubasani said only 137 young children were abducted during the attack. That's a conversation for another day. Now, 2 days later, on March 9, bandits abducted 15 Sangaya students in Sokoto. These are the stories that made the news. Since the April 2014 abduction of 276 school children, schoolgirls from Government Girls Secondary School in Chibok, Borno State, Nigeria has recorded at least 15 other incidents of mass abduction. The Boko Haram insurgent group has taken responsibility for some of these kidnappings, but in recent instances, armed men branded bandits have been credited as the masterminds behind the kidnappings. Again, today on the show, we're going to reframe Hakeem's statement into a question: why are children the prime targets of armed groups in northern Nigeria? What is the purpose? What are the long-term implications if not checked? My guest is a security expert, Bala Abdullahi. Bala, thank you very much for speaking with us. Let's begin by establishing your position. Do you agree with the submission that children are prime targets of armed groups? If yes or no, give us reasons.
Thank you for having me. Yes and no. Yes, for the purpose that issue of children, it gives a global concern, it gives a global coverage, so that it attracts global sympathy. And once such happens, it also has a direct implication on the security architecture on a particular country, the case in Nigeria, for example. And it also gives some concerns, some feelings to general public that these are children that doesn't know what to do, don't have where to go, don't have anybody to sympathize with. So that is one of the targets why this adoption of school children is going rampantly. And if care is not taken, if not checked properly, it will also continue to rise in terms of the attacks on the school children. And you see, naturally, banditry activities or insurgency activities is usually something that usually attracts a particular group or a particular sympathy of a particular group because of the demands creation by the banditry. And because of the laxity in the security architecture in Nigeria, because of the issue of the lack of synergy among the security apparatus, because of the lack of sense of belonging and patriotism, sense of focus and political will. That is what constitutes the menace to be on the high side. And why no is that it's not only the children that are targeted, but other community members are also targeted. But for the children in particular, because of what I said earlier, it's just to attract global attention. And once such is done, it levels Nigeria in a certain particular corner or red line on issue regarding the security system in Nigeria.
But I have so many questions for you, and you've raised a little with even the small submission so far. But before we proceed, I want you to quickly demystify the choice of the word bandit as the identity of these armed men. Before now, at least in the early at the time of former President Muhammadu Buhari, we read that the Boko Haram insurgents group often take responsibility for some of these kidnappings. But in these times, all we hear are these armed men being branded as bandits. Who are these bandits? Why is it hard to identify and capture them? Again, just to add in the midst and give it a little more context, some of these abductions are done while the children are in school. Is there something we should be inferring from this?
Okay, issue of banditry, like what you said, it's just a branded name. It's just a name given, and any name can be coined and tag an armed group with. It's just like Boko Haram, just like Katsina, just like Hezbollah, just like ISIS, just like whatsoever name you can call it. It's just a name given, just to tag a particular armed. But all in all, be it as it may, you see, the banditry itself is a kind of basket that basket full of fruit salads. You pick the one that you want, you pick the one that suits you. So the issue of insecurity in the country or in sub-Saharan state is just a network. As an African criminal network or global criminal network or sub-Saharan or continental global criminal network or even cross-continental criminal network. So these are some of the issues that they are linked. They have network such that they are within the policy makers, they are within the security experts, they are within the traditional rulers, they are within the religious leaders, they are within the community members, all encompassing, including the commoners, those that you can see as informant, those that you can see, they are part of this group. Sometimes back, I categorize this particular group into three. We have the complete entrepreneurs, we have the interests of the international community or the missionaries, we have the miscellaneous. The complete entrepreneurs is high-level group, if you can make it a social strata of banditry. It's a high-level group that composed of everybody, including the security agencies, including the traditional rulers, including the religious leaders and the community leaders. Then the other part is the interest of the international community or the mercenaries that are usually being sponsored by the international community, by some other countries. There are some allegation level against some other countries that they are the one fueling the crisis, especially in sub-Saharan states. Then the other one is just a miscellaneous. There are other categories of people that are just criminal activities that are also hijacking the activities of the banditry, of the bandit groups in the name of bandits themselves, but they are not bandits. The operation, the modus operandi, the dynamics and the dimension, the processes of attack and retreat, depending upon on the name given to the particular group of insurgents group or non-conventional group. So the point one is trying to look into is that the issue lies solely on the government, because some of the policymakers that are supposed to make a policy statement, policy implementation, policy programs and processes that will benefit to the general public, there are also the same category of people that are also sponsoring this category, because it's a very lucrative job, very lucrative venture that everybody, so long as you are not patriotic, you want to venture into it because it yields a lot of money. That is on the other side. There are also issue of mass production of weapons, issue of porous border that also assists in paving way. And this has to do with the issue of laxity on the side of the security agencies that are manning the borders. And believe you me, Nigeria is having more than 2,000 porous border, not official borders that are manned by official security agencies. Over 2,000 borders for us that each and every high and jack are coming into Nigeria just to cause mayhem. The other part that I want you to look into is that the insurgency financing, or the banditry financing, the arms trading, the arms manufacturing, and the arms transportation, that usually also has a kind of a tree. I mean, we call it insurgency tree. The other part, it has leaves, it has the stem, and it has the root. Each and every one of this category also taking its own responsibility based on the modus operandi, based on the directives given by the so-called higher level officials that are sponsoring this. And the earlier the Nigerian government understands the nitty-gritty and the time bomb, because we are in the time bomb. Because you, like you said, the issue of taking the small children, the implication of taking the small children into this. One, they are recruiting them. Two, they have killed their loved ones. So they are left with no option rather than to join whatsoever or whatsoever comes in their way, to join as child soldiers. So this has an implication on the economy, has an implication on the peaceful coexistence, and has an implication on the political structure of the country. So let there be synergy. Synergy, we call that CCC, Central Command and Communication by the security agencies. And one big problem that the Nigerian government did was that merging joint soldiers and the police people in operation. The highest you can do is 3 to 6 months. That is the only way you disengage, you separate them. But if you allow soldier and police to be in operation for a longer period, more than 6 months, believe me, it will create another set of security setback in the country.
All right.
The only thing is that the soldiers will also copy, or will also not come down to copy the behaviors and the attitude of the police, while the police will also copy the root nature of the soldiers. And believe you me, initially we were suggesting that 80% should be civic relation, and while 20% should be use of force. But looking at the situation that is going on now, the needs for all the security apparatus to come together to salvage the situation, if at all we want the situation to be
okay. Let's see if we can narrow things down, maybe suggestions to the issue of children in particular. You did allude to the government holding a lion's share of the responsibility when it comes to tackling insecurity. But what is your assessment of how they're responding to the issue of children being targeted by armed groups? Do you know of maybe specific initiative for that, and not just maybe the general insecurity, which is a different issue, if you ask me?
Well, left to me, for the issue regarding the initiative that the state government should also embark on, most of the previous initiatives were too political in nature. But I'm also suggesting that if at all we want to do it as quickly as possible, it should be a multi-sectoral sectoral approach for each and every part of it. I call it a triangular approach. The other approach is for the community to be vigilant, report whatever they see as unusual. The other part is for the government side to do the needful. And the roles and responsibility of every government is to protect lives and property of citizens. So the government should be apt and do it if they meant serious. Then the other one is the security agencies that usually connive with some of them connive with the bandits for foiling this crisis. So if this are meant to be serious enough, believe you me, it will go a long way in mitigating. This issue is not going to end today, tomorrow, next year, next week. No, it's not, because it's lucrative and everybody is enjoying it, everybody is participating in it. So the earlier we try to mitigate the level of intensity, the better. And for the school children approach, the community should be sensitized, should be mobilized as to issue of security of their children.
All right.
So that they can be vigilant when and how this movement of people, cross-border movement, transnational movement, transhuman movement, for them to inform the security agencies for
Bala,
quick response.
the questions are multiple, but we're time constrained. So maybe we'll take it another time and talk about insecurity in Nigeria generally and get your perspective on that. But for now, we have to say thank you very much for speaking with us. We appreciate the insights you've provided.
Thank you for having me.
I do have something to say on this one today. I acknowledge that these subspecies of humanity, they know how powerful a child is to any nation, and they continue to exploit that. But as with many Nigerians, I am most pained by the seeming helplessness of the Nigerian state, seeming to me, because getting rid of these parasites that prey on children is not impossible. Besides, in my view, scuttling education in the North is not the best interest of one Nigeria. One Nigeria can only be possible as a reality when education is accessible without the crippling fear of abductions and violence. It is not enough to celebrate rescuing some children, nor is it enough to be somber on his birthday alone. President Tinubu must do more in his time. And Nigeria as a nation, like Bala has said, must prioritize work on the safety of children, or I fear in the next 20 to 30 years, when these crops of leaders are weak or dead, there will be nothing, or I dare say, in Nigeria worth mentioning. And for those gaining off of this, may your end be as vile as the universe can make it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.